Welcome back to Monster Hunter World. If you can hear a bit of aggro in my voice, it's just because I've just recorded a Fortnite video. There's a small chance it will not get uploaded because it's not funny. It's just me getting pissed. Really annoyed. Yeah, the reason I've started on the menu is because the footage I had of a certain area and after the Pink Rathian fight got corrupted. Somehow, I was able to salvage some of the Pink Rathian fight, so I apologise in advance. The reasons my hours have gone up, and the armor's a spoiler, but oh well. I'm going to tell you as I go along what I did. Okay, we'll just start off with the Admiral blows in, because this is what happens after you fight the Pink Rathian.
Never thought we'd find her in the Coral Highlands.
It takes a small combination of miracles for a subspecies to emerge. At least that's what the scholars said.
All the same, she's in remarkable condition. She must have grown somewhere rich in nutrients.
I might know where that is.
Admiral!
At last, he returns.
I've been enjoying watching your exploits. Fine work, I must say. Well done.
Would it have killed you to help instead of just watching?
What for? You seem to have it covered. Here, I brought you some souvenirs.
Interesting. Where'd you get him?
You know where you drove off, Big Ugly? Well, there's a spot further in there. And it's just loaded with these things.
They're incredible. It's like there's this energy pulsing inside them.
Wasn't just me then. Ha! I'll wager they tie into this whole thing we've been studying somehow. Well, I intend to find out how. Raise your hand or paw if you're with me. Any of these jaggy brains up for a challenge?
These two.
Wait, what?
Okay, you two. See you on site. I'll be at the tunnel. And don't you keep me waiting. I hate waiting.
Have fun.
Don't die out there.
Well, there you go. You met the Admiral. He has Raditz-like hair. And he's a badass. So yeah, after the Pink Rathian, he says, oh, there's an area past the place where you fought the Zora Magdaros. And drove him out of it. I can't remember, was it the Everglade or something retarded like that? Anyway, he tells you there's a place further in, and we essentially got volunteered to go in with him, and we find out what's behind the behind where we fought the Zora Magdaros, and here it is.
Amazing, right?
Yeah.
There's so many of these crystals in here, you're likely to trip on them.
Some of them are huge. How do they form?
Beats the heck out of me, but I'll tell you what. This place is sizzling with bioenergy. And that means the monsters around here are tougher than Nova crystals.
Admiral, there's something that's been bothering me.
Which is?
Why was Zora Magdaros tunneling in here instead of simply dying in the Vale? Was something here luring it in?
Who knows, kid? But we do have one clue. Nergigante.
You're right. Nergigante and Zora Magdaros. We've always seen them together. It must have had its own reason for coming.
And not just him either. Fact is, loads of powerful monsters have holed themselves up in here. We need to track them one by one. And maybe we might just find a pattern.
Right.
Of course I'm right. Now get ready.
Whoops. Anyway, so yeah, we go into Elder's Recess, which is this area, and he says that, and we find out that this isn't even clocked when I first heard it, but Nergigante and the Zora Magdaros are always together. I'm gonna tell you now. I needed to get some materials, and I spoke to the ecologist, or whatever it's called, and he mentions that after you've got to find a bunch of parts to find a Nergigante, like all these little bits and bobs, and then he tells you that we can't possibly put the Nergigante into a species like brute wyvern, whatever bird. So he's thrown Nergigante in the Elder Dragon pile, along with Zora Magdaros and a bunch more. Now I have fought all 3 monsters we're about to see, plus another monster which I think I've covered in a different video, like a badass. But I will show you the ecologist, and I'll tell you what I've done from there after we've seen the last 3 cutscenes. The bottom one's the Zora Magdaros anyway. So yeah, this is the Crystal Gourmand, which is probably one of the weirdest looking creatures I've ever seen. That's literally it. That is literally the cutscene. It's the most pointless cutscene in history, but the Dodogama is actually stupidly strong for what seems to be the same species as the Jagras. It's very funny when I first fought him, because he was a lot more powerful than I was expecting, but he's a bit of a retarded one. Now, the last 2, if I remember correctly, they're monsters from previous games. I know one of them's from Generations prior, or beforehand, sorry, Prior's different. But the one afterwards, which where it says Rolling Thunder, that's from Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, I believe? I think. But anyway, this is the Magma Wyvern. These cutscenes are stupidly short. But the Lavaziath was in Generations and games before that. It's a nightmare to fight. I like the monster because when I was fighting it, it had the same design as the Duratodus, but the Duratodus came after. This is the first time I've ever seen a Duratodus in like a Monster Hunter game. So yeah, I like the Lavaziath and I like the Dodogama, but this in the Elder's Recess, there's got to be one of my returning favourites. We're about to watch Rolling Thunder. A bit of a trivia about the Eurogron. In the old one, I don't remember him being able to throw bombs all over the place. he was a badass in the old game, but he's just turned into more of a badass now. And actually, I'm so glad the Bone Behemoth, which is a Radaban that's come up. The way Radaban is spelled is R-A-D-O-B-A-A-N. Eurogron is spelled the same way. U-A-R... Well, no, not exactly the same way, but the ending's the same way. I'm convinced they're the same species, and they're part of the same... Like, based on the way the Eurogron has bones that you can mine off its back, you can mine ores off the Eurogron's back. I'm convinced that they are like cousins. But, no, I'm gonna magically spawn into a lobby, and we're gonna continue with the campaign from there. So, give me about 2 seconds, I'm guessing.